Hey guys, I have a pretty lengthy word today, so I'm just going to get into it. All right, so here's what God is saying. Tell my people that I am a waymaker. Tell my people that I have all of their cares in my hand, that there is nothing that is too big for me. I am the great I am. Tell them to seek me, and I will restore their spirit with my joy. I will fill their cup till it's overflowing. I will guide them through their troubles. I am the good shepherd. I am always with them. They need not to fear. I am the vine, and you are the branches. If you remain in me, then I will remain in you. And then he gave me scriptures. So here goes. I'm going to put them down in the below this video. And then, okay, so here we are. So John chapter 15, verses 4 through 5. Remain in me as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. And then 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 7. Give all your worries to him because he cares for you. And then Psalm 23, verse 4. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. And then I would read all of Psalm 23 though. And then seek the Lord and his strength, seek his face continually. And that's 1 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 11. Glory in his holy name. Let the hearts of those who seek the Lord rejoice. Look to the Lord and his strength. Seek his face always. Psalm 105, verses 3 and 4. I sought the Lord and he answered me. He delivered me from all of my fears. Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame. Psalm chapter 34, verses 4 and 5. And then Isaiah chapter 43, verses 15 and 16 says, I am the Lord, your Holy One, the Creator of Israel, your King, who makes a way through the sea and a path through the mighty waters. Okay? And so I also need to read to you guys Exodus chapter 13, verse 17, all the way up until chapter 14. We're going to read all of chapter 14. Okay, so here goes. When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them on the road through the Philistine country, though that way was shorter. For God said, if they face war, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led the people around by the desert road toward the Red Sea. The Israelites went up out of Egypt ready for battle. Okay, so right now, a lot of you guys are in a situation where like there is no way forward or backward. You kind of have to go through it. But it's God that's leading you, so keep that in mind. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him because Joseph had made the Israelites swear an oath. He had said, God will surely come to your aid, and then you must carry my bones up with you from this place. After leaving Succoth, they camped at Etham and on the edge of the desert. By day, the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so that they could travel by day or night. Neither the pillar of cloud by day nor the pillar of fire by night left its place in front of the people. So know that God is with you. He's leading you. He goes ahead of you. And even though there are moments where you feel like you just don't know what to do, that's when you can seek the Lord, right? That's why he's really pressing in on that word, seek me, because you're going through a very dark hour right now. And the only way to continue to be bold in faith is if you continue to make time to seek his face so that he can fill your cup, right? Okay, so then the Lord said to Moses, tell the Israelites to turn back and encamp near Pi Hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea. They are to encamp by the sea directly opposite Baal Zephon. Pharaoh will think the Israelites are wandering around the land in confusion, hemmed in by the desert. So this part really made me This one was really funny for me, because right now our enemies think that we're confused, that we're like, we have no way out, but that's what God wants them to think. So trust that God has a plan, because he's the one that's setting up the war. Remember, he's a man of war. He's mighty in battle. So he knows what he's doing, guys. Okay, so don't fear. He wants you guys to, he's telling me, tell them not to fear. So don't fear, go to him, because God has given you a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind, not a spirit of fear. So make sure that you're going to him continually. That means throughout the day, morning, afternoon, and night, so that you can continually be in his presence, and you don't have to worry about fear creeping in and stealing your peace, love, and joy for the day. Right? Okay, so I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will pursue them, but I will gain glory for myself through Pharaoh and all his army, and the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. So the Israelites did this. So this is God saying, like, I'm doing this, and I'm going to harden the hearts, right, of your enemies, so that they can think that they have the upper hand, but really they don't. It's like God is just like, it's like one of God's strategies to humble them, right? Because they're full of pride, and God humbles the proud. And then when the king of Egypt was told that the people had fled, Pharaoh and his officials changed their minds about them and said, "What have we done? We have let the Israelites go and have lost their services." So he had his chariot made ready and took his army with him. He took 600 of the best chariots along with all the other chariots of Egypt, with officers over all of them. The Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, so that he pursued the Israelites who were marching out boldly. Okay, so they're going to use all of their weapons, right? Everything in their power to come against us. But it's going to be for naught, because, no weapon formed against us will prosper. No curse without cause is going to prosper, guys. So these are the promises that we are resting in in this hour, because this is God guiding us. He's the one that's leading us out. He is reminding us that he is our king, capital K, king. We are no longer going to be bound by our pharaohs, the pharaohs in our lives, right? So, because we're being led to the promised land. Yay. Okay, so let's see here. The Egyptians, all Pharaoh's horses and chariots, horsemen and troops, pursued the Israelites and overtook them as they camped by the sea near Pi Hahiroth, opposite Baal Zephon. As Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up, and there were the Egyptians marching after them. They were terrified and cried out to the Lord. They said to Moses, "Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die? What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt? Didn't we say to you in Egypt, 'Leave us alone, let us serve the Egyptians'? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert." Moses answered the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Okay, so the Egyptians were stuck with this mentality, right? That, from being an Egyptian from being in Egypt for 400 years, they took on this slave-like mentality, and they didn't want to, the new didn't make any sense to them, so it's really hard to push through, the unknown, right? When God is paving a new way, it's hard, because you don't know what to expect. But remember, we walk by faith, not by sight. So that's why Moses tells them, like, know that, God is Lord, right? And he's going to fight for you, so remember, like, stand firm, keep your stance, right? Your victory stance. And then the Lord said to Moses, "Why are you crying out to me? Tell the Israelites to move on. Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the water, so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground. I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians so that they will go in after them. And I will gain glory through Pharaoh and all his army, through his chariots and his horsemen. The Egyptians will know that I am the Lord when I gain glory through Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen." Okay, so then we're just to keep the faith, guys. That's why God says, just tell them to move on. Like, we have to keep moving on day by day. We have to keep, just speaking his word over us, right? Because that's all we have to do. We don't need to do any this battle. He's fighting this battle for us. We don't need to do anything, because that's the way he wants it, right? Because he wants his glory out of this. It's not going to be by your power, by your might, but it's going to be through his spirit. Okay. And then, so it says here, then the angel of God, who had been traveling in front of Israel's army, withdrew and went behind them. The pillar of cloud also moved from in front and stood behind them, coming between the armies of Egypt and Israel. Throughout the night, the cloud brought darkness to the one side and light to the other side, so neither went near the other all night long. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and all that night the Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind and turned it into dry land. The waters were divided, and the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground with a wall of water on their right and on their left. Okay, so then basically, you guys, we're just going through, right, by faith, and God is going to make a way. We don't need to worry that, something might mess up, we might make a mistake. We are to just trust that God is taking care of everything. He's already gone before us. And we just need to walk by faith, right? And even when it's dark, when we don't know what's happening, right? When we don't know what to expect, what's next. He just keeps saying, tell them to trust me. Tell them to trust me. He has it, guys. He has it all worked out. Okay, so it says here, the Egyptians pursued them, and all Pharaoh's horses and chariots and horsemen followed them into the sea. That's exactly what God wants too, by the way. During the last watch of the night, the Lord looked down from the pillar of fire and cloud at the Egyptian army and threw it into confusion. He jammed the wheels of their chariots so that they had difficulty driving, and the Egyptians said, let's get away from the Israelites. The Lord is fighting for them against Egypt. So this is how you will know that God is fighting for you. You're going to notice that your enemies are going to be, right now they think they have the upper hand. They're going to go into confusion. They're going to fumble their ball. And I mean hard, guys. They're going to think that they have everything planned out, and it's not going, it's going to go kaput. It's not going to work. It's not going to work because they're fighting against God. God is not going to allow it to work. Okay, so then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand over the sea so that the waters may flow back over the Egyptians and their chariots and horsemen. Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and at daybreak the sea went back to its place. The Egyptians were fleeing toward it, and the Lord swept them into the sea. The water flowed back and covered the chariots and horsemen. The entire army of Pharaoh that had followed the Israelites into the sea, not one of them survived. But the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground with a wall of water on their right and on their left. That day the Lord saved Israel from the hands of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians lying dead on the shore. And when the Israelites saw the mighty hand of the Lord displayed against the Egyptians, the people feared the Lord and put their trust in him and in Moses, his servant. So we have the victory, guys. There's literally nothing that we need to fear. We just need to seek him, because he is going to work this all out for our good. He is behind it all. And, we're not going to see them anymore. This will be our last time dealing with these pharaohs in our lives. Because God is going to make sure that, we see with our own eyes that it's finished, right? And we'll be able to see that it is finished, because that is his promise to us, that he's going to work it out. We just need to trust in him, keep the faith, and march on, guys, because we're marching right into our victory. So be blessed, be encouraged, and stay prayed up. Bye.